Welcome to Go Lurk Yourself, a podcast about streaming video games on the internet. My name is Crunky.
And I'm Cherry Cake.
This week we're going to talk to you about some current games we've been playing. I know myself, I've been playing Monster Hunter World on PC. Cherry?
I have been playing Overcooked 2.
And we both have been playing Rainbow Six Siege on PC. What's Overcooked 2? Are you playing that on Switch?
Yes, yeah, I'm playing it on the Switch, yeah.
I know it's on a couple platforms, right?
Yes, it is on PC. I actually can't remember if it's on any other console or not.
I want to say it's on Xbox One at least, but I honestly didn't look. I was just going to assume it's for all consoles, because why wouldn't they, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that, yeah.
Here we go.
So speaking of multiple consoles, I started playing Monster Hunter World earlier in the year, and I think we even touched on it on the podcast about on the PS4 version. I know it came out on Xbox One and PS4 maybe May, I want to say. Don't quote me on that exactly, but I liked playing it, but the player base amongst my friends was split between PS4 and Xbox One, and the people that I really liked to play a lot with were playing on Xbox One, but I don't want to play with them that much, so I'm going to go buy an Xbox One. That game, actually, I played the PS4 solo, the PS4 version of Monster Hunter solo so much that it made me go out and upgrade my PS4 to a PS4 Pro so I could get 60 frames.
Oh, I actually remember you doing that as well, yeah.
Yeah, I had a bunch of old games, and it was basically it cost me the trade-in value of my game, so there was no money out of pocket to upgrade, other than what I could have gotten from the trade-in games. But they always give you a little bit more in-store credit for a trade-in, so it felt like a good move. Mm-hmm. Plus, I knew God of War was coming out, and I wanted to play that in the best-looking way possible. But with the PC version, you can choose. You don't have to choose between 4K and 60 frames. You can have both, provided you have the hardware that can run it. And my system runs the game very well, with the exception of when I stream certain monsters. Certain monsters use different visual effects, and those can be more taxing on your CPU. And if I'm streaming while I do that, it just or GPU. I don't know which one. I haven't really studied into which one is causing the issues, but I've read a lot of feedback that there's certain monster effects can cause real bad stuttering. And I've not run into that. I'm not at the end game yet. I've not run into that a whole lot. But, man, I just love the Monster Hunter loop. If for those of you guys who've never played Monster Hunter before, you live in a fishing town, and you're being invaded by these giant beasts. And there's a one in particular who's like the main antagonist, giant beast, who's coming to town. And you and your party, and you have a partner who helps you study up. You have to go out into the jungle. There's a bunch of different areas, but you start out going out into the woods and finding the smaller monsters and putting up a fight. First, you have to study them, track them. They leave footprints on the ground, and you track them. And your partner is putting in notes in a book. And the more you study and track them, experience you get from them, the more information you have on them, their weak points, what they can drop, what parts they use. Literally, it's kind of gross to think about, but you actually skin the monsters and use their parts to build new armor and new weapons. And back at your hometown, there's a whole team of researchers, and there's I don't know if it's a botanist or what they call him, a guy who you give unique plants that you find out in the woods, and they can use those to help. You go to this gal who has a giant mixing pot who will help you learn how to make better potions, and you can kill they have a stegosaurus looking thing at the beginning of some of the levels. If you kill it, you can get meat and use that and cook it, and it helps give you energy and health boosts for each hunt. So it's this gameplay loop of preparation, exploration, the fighting aspect of it. It's made by Capcom, so if you think Street Fighter or complex fighting games, each weapon you can pick any weapon you want and change it any time. Each weapon has a move set that one guy has a sword and shield, so he can block and attack. The other guy has a giant lance or a spear. There's bows and bow guns. There's a little bit of a cyberpunk feel to it. The guns, you can actually shoot guns out of the end of some of the swords. Yeah, it's just a very in-depth game. So that loop is prepare, explore, attack, and then come back and use the parts to upgrade your weapons. And then you can start putting together, okay, I know which monster drops the parts I need now. I need 6 of them. So it's kind of got this Diablo grind to it, where you got to go out. And you could synergize all the things that you need to do together. So I know I need herbs for this. I need, dinosaur bones for that. I need, I need to go explore. And I know there's other monsters out there. I've seen their tracks while I'm running around hunting the lower monsters to upgrade my weapon. I'm also noticing these new tracks. Well, that's filling up your research book on information on how to actually track the new monsters. Monster Hunter World is like the 6th game in the series, I want to say, and it's the most accessible. They made it less cartoony and more modern graphics, but it still kept like that campy vibe. I mean, your one of your partners is a cat named Calico.
Yes, I have seen them. Yeah,
and they fight with you. So when you're fighting solo, that cat will run out and in fact, I named mine Decoy this time around. He'll run out and he'll distract the monster, so you can kind of get tail attacks in. Because literally, like, you're fighting like a giant T-Rex. His name is I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's a fire-breathing T-Rex who like has little things on his neck pop out, but he shoots fire. But you can chop his tail off. Like in certain rare upgrades, only come from the tail. You have to like focus on getting his tail chopped off. And the biggest aspect of the game is, if you like Diablo style, like, loot grinder kind of games, is it's a 3D action game like that, but it's multiplayer. And you can join up with up to 3 other friends, or a total group of 4, to do different events together. And, I was playing with our friend Sinister 23 last night. He's several levels below me, so he can't join the group, the quest that I'm doing, but I can join his without any issue and help him kill, track down. And I get things out of it. I get parts out of it. I get exploration and resources. Even though I've been to that area a lot where he is, and I've killed that monster that he needs for a quest, there's tons of stuff there that I can actually get and use. So it kind of is a fun game, a fun social game to get in and horse around with. That said, one of the biggest issues facing the PC launch thus far has been there have been network issues. Instead of making your own like guild or clan like you would in an MMO, they tied the guild or clan system to the Steam group system. If you've ever been in Steam, they have Steam groups. So I don't know if that's necessarily what's causing it, because they've not really said. They basically for the first 2 weeks in the game, every time you join up with somebody, you got like a 50-50 shot at the end of the quest of being kicked out of the group and not being able to rejoin them.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. And Dee and I were playing it together, and we don't have a whole lot of time where we're both available to sit down and game at the same time. And it was just like, oh my God, this is, we've been trying to coordinate this together for days, and we finally get together, but can't even get to work. So they did put out a patch like this week that has addressed it. And I've run into the issue once since that happened. It happened to me and Sin and I the other day. But it's a huge step in the right direction. And they acknowledge in the patch, like, look, we wanted to get this patch out because we think it will handle, it will not fix the issue completely, but it will reduce the number of them significantly. So, and we need another week or whatever it was they said to get the next one fixed. Well, and I respect that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty good. I mean, they're fully admitting that it's not completely fixed, but they're working on it. So here's something in the meantime that will probably tide you over until they actually manage to get around to fully fixing it. That's really neat.
Yeah, it is. It's good. I mean, it's especially, in a world where big companies like that tend to not even reply.
Yeah.
The initial response, I think the game launched on a Friday. The initial response over the weekend, there was silence. But then on Monday, they said, hey, we acknowledge there's an issue. I guess initially they were telling anyone who issued a ticket to Capcom was told to go check with Steam. And anyone who issued a ticket with Steam was told to go check with Capcom. So we had like 48 hours of frustration. Yeah. But the issue that I ran into with Monster Hunter World back when I played on PS4, other than playing solo, and they might be connected, is that with any loot grind game, at the end game, like an MMO will do, they make the end pieces just harder and harder and harder to get each step of the way, or more rare, right? So in order to get your ultimate weapon that's available right now, you have to go kill this dragon, this giant dragon that can one-shot you like 50% of the time.
Oh.
And he's, you have to get a group together. And the way that the group system works in that game is you have, you and 3 friends or 4 people, you have 3 deaths between you. And if 3 people die, quest is over, no reward.
Yeah.
And it can be really frustrating if you're playing with randoms or playing with people who are newer to the game, and you're like, hey, we're going to go fight this super hard boss. Can you handle it? And then everyone's like, yeah, no problem. And then they go out there and die 3 times in a row. Like, well, clearly you can't. But I've been that guy, so I'm not calling out anybody in particular. I've been that guy where I thought I could, and then I realized I was wrong.
It's okay.
But it's definitely got that 3D action. Like, I don't want to compare it to Dark Souls because that's like a trope, but like if that action game, it's a lot more in depth than Dark Souls as far as combat wise.
Yeah,
it's got that action in it. What were you gonna say?
So you were just talking then about end game items that you can get. Is there an actual end game to it, or is it more like something akin to like WoW, where they just keep building and building and building, but you never actually get to the end? You can always get more like better weapons from better or more difficult bosses.
I think the WoW analogy or the comparison is really good because, in WoW, there is a story. Like if you do the raids, then there's cinematics in parts of them. And there's Wrath of the Lich King. There was an end to that boss. There was an end. You killed the freaking Lich King.
Yeah.
There was still stuff to do after that. That was like in-game raid content where you could start building better armor and better weapons and things like that. And I'd say this game is very similar. I know that the PS4 and Xbox One version, from talking to B-Shiv, there are a lot more. They've added content, like in Monster Hunter games historically, add content later in life. Like the game just came out on PC, and there are more in-game monsters to fight on the Xbox One version right now because that patch has not hit PC yet.
Yeah.
But there is a narrative. Like, let's say you get the game and you play through that. There's this giant monster named Zora Magnaros. And I couldn't talk about this game without admitting that there's a couple of levels where you fight. Literally, this monster is the level you fight on him, and he has he has like these power crystals. You got to like run around and find him, and it's the worst levels of the game. It's like it was a neat idea. Hey, instead of fighting a giant monster, you fight on him, and literally other monsters come and land on him, and you have to fight him on his back. That
sounds really cool.
It sounds awesome on paper, but it's like not buggy, but like just clunky because he'll like rear up on his hind legs, and then so the level is set up to where when he does that, the floor becomes the wall, and the walls now are the floor, and you can't fall off, and you can still climb on him pretty easily, but it's just tedious and not great. Like it needed another round of like. Because it starts out, he's advancing on the town, and you got this big wall built up with like cannons and ballista all over it. So literally the first 15 minutes of this quest is you carrying cannonballs from the pile to the cannon, aiming the cannon, shooting it. You got to load 5 of them at a time.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, he's now close enough to tie him down. So you go get the ballista that's got the rope arrow on it, and you put that on there, and you get 3 of those in him, and it has to be able to be done solo or with a group. So if you're doing it solo, it's a lot of you running around doing everything. Wow. If you're doing it with a group, you still have to you do it so fast that you have to wait for his slow ass to actually get all the way to the. It's just, it's like a weird middle of the road thing that they did.
Yeah.
And there's one time when he advances, and then there's another time where you have to go fight him when he comes back, and both of them are pretty boring. Like, not boring is the wrong word. Tedious.
Yeah, you said it was tedious, yeah.
Yeah, and like frustrating because you are not sure, am I not doing something I'm supposed to be doing? No, it just takes him forever to walk back, so you just have to wait.
Yeah. So when you were just saying then, that particular level or boss can be done by yourself or in a group, does the game implement it where if you're by yourself, the level or the difficulty of the boss gets lowered, whereas if you're in a group, it kind of matches the amount of people you have in the group? Or is it just a one level?
No, on that boss level, I have to assume that it's the same as everything else. If you're fighting any monster in the game, if you're doing a quest where the quest is kill, I'm just going to say Rathian. He's a giant fire-breathing drake, right? He flies. And if you're out there fighting him solo, he has a small HP pool, and his damage is down compared to group. If one person joins you, it bumps up to the group level, and that's it. So if you're going to have one extra person, you might as well have 3.
Oh, I see. All right, okay.
In fact, that's from playing it solo so much on the PS4 and being where I cut my teeth on this version of the game. My biggest feedback on the PC version is, oh my god, this is so easy compared to what I played on the PS4. But it's a combination of I'm playing a different character class. Like the character class I'm playing, there are no character classes. It's a weapon class. You pick your weapon and you can switch it at any time. But at the end game, you have to start like picking weapons and armor that have attributes that amplify the kind of damage you do. And the game is very complex, like stats and the names. Like you have to learn the names of all the different like damage modifiers and like I play a character that uses the charge blade, which is a sword and shield that has files on it that as you do damage, they fill up to files and you can store them in the shield. And that makes your shield like being able to absorb more damage or do more damage when you hit people with it. And you have to do like certain combos in order to even activate it and time it very well. His biggest attack is where he charges up both the sword and the shield, sticks them together, turns them into a giant axe, and then does a roundhouse overhead combo that takes like 5 seconds to wind up.
But that sounds really insane.
It is, but it's the kind of like if you like in-depth combat or in-depth gameplay, it's the pinnacle of it because it's very like you don't have to do that, but if you put the time and effort into it, there's a huge reward for it because it does massive damage. But it's also hard as hell to pull off. I think I've pulled in an average monster fight, I may get 2 of them off if I'm lucky, but usually it's just 1. So I'm a big fan of Monster Hunter World. It's not without its issues. The networking stuff, the tech side is pretty bad right now. Well, it's better than it was. It was pretty bad at launch, but and it's also the type of game it isn't for everyone. You may love Diablo, but Diablo is very accessible when it comes to like clicking around. You just get in and click here to move. Yeah. Click here to use this ability. Monster Hunter is not that way. This is the most accessible one, and it's still a little bit tedious because it's built on the framework of like just grouping with people is difficult because let's say you were to get the game now, right, and you started playing it. Every story element, every time they introduce a new monster, you have to go in and find it by yourself. You can't be in a group to find it for the first time. So you and I will get in and you'll be like, hey, come kill this monster with me, because it doesn't tell you can't do it with friends. And I'll be like, sure. And we'll get in the same online session. Then you'll post a quest to a board. I'll have to go in there and go to accept the quest for us to go together. And then it'll say, you can't join this quest until Cherry Cake sees the opening cinematic.
Oh, what?
But because the grouping aspect is made for all the other stuff other than the main story. So once you understand that all the story stuff you should really do by yourself, then it becomes easier. But it's really frustrating. Like our friend Dama, he got this game. He played the opening level and was like, I hate the combat in this. I'm like, yeah, I told you probably would. And then when we couldn't go help him fight the first monster, he goes, that's it, I'm out. And that was it.
I have one last question for you about this.
Yeah.
Coming from someone that's played, from yourself, that's played it on console and PC, what is, like, are there any major differences? I know you were talking about, like, the 4K and 60 FPS, but is there any other major differences that you have seen?
Not really. Performance is the only thing I've noticed difference. The PC version looks better, runs better, is more stable. Like I get over 100 frames per second in it, in almost every area. Like I said, it'll drop a bit when I'm streaming, or if I'm in an area that has like a super effects heavy boss. There's a boss who is basically like a rotten dragon, like a decaying dragon. and he has like fog all over him and fabric effects because his wings are all deteriorated, and he really hurts people's graphics cards. Yeah. But no, other than that, it's just straightforward. It's not like there's any kind of there's not as much content. We talked about that. The later patches are not out yet, but I see no reason. There was no reason to get it on console if you have a PC that can run it, because I have an Xbox One controller hooked up to my PC, and I switched over. I'm able to do the combos and stuff without much notice of any change compared to PS4.
That's good to know.
But that's enough about Monster Hunter. If you don't stop me now, I'll talk about it all day.
I think you did last time.
You're playing, I think I saw you stream Overcooked 2 with your sister.
Yes, I did. It was recently recently-ish. It was my sister's birthday, 3 months ago. And there was nothing out at the time, because she's a big gamer. She likes games, as I do. And I asked her if she wanted anything. And for some reason, I happened to mention that there was an Overcooked 2 coming out.
Yeah.
Because it had been announced. Was it announced at E3? Or maybe before then?
I think it was at E3, and they were just like, there's an E3, and guess what? It's out next week, or something like that. It was like a big surprise release.
Yeah. And she immediately said yes, because we played Overcooked, the first one. And it's so much fun. And we played it on Steam. We got it for my PC. I think we streamed that one as well. We had a lot of fun.
I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
And longtime listeners of the podcast will know that, Cherry grew up playing video games with her brother and sister. It's kind of the reason she's still a gamer today.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. My sister still lives with me, so if there are any co-op games, we try to play it whenever we can.
That's nice.
Yeah. I ended up buying Overcooked 2 for her, but this time we got it for the Switch, and we wanted it to be a little bit more accessible. It's the Switch, you can take it wherever you want, so we got it for that, so we could play it with my parents if we ever felt the need, because then be 4 of us, so we thought it'd be quite a good purchase for that. Coming into it, we didn't really know what to expect from it. I had seen some gameplay, Bev hadn't. I think like I mentioned, it was announced at E3, so I saw some of the stuff that was going to be on the game. And upon coming to play it, it's a good game. I know you're not a fan of the first one because you tried playing it with Dee, was it? And you got a little bit ragey with it.
Dee and Molly. It's not, I'm not a fan, like, personally. It's like the gameplay style of Overcooked is more frustrating than fun to me, and that's the kind of game it is. It's supposed to be a co-op, like working together, making things hard to do, like like literally the levels move around, so you can't, like, you just get in a gameplay loop.
This is true.
But I see and respect what it is. I think maybe 20 years ago I'd get into it a lot more, or I'd be able to play it with friends, but it just frustrates the hell out of me, that game.
Okay. So yeah, if you like Crunk, if you get frustrated easy, I guess maybe it's not your kind of game, but
it's the kind of game, like, it's like playing Pac-Man, but somebody's knocking the controller out of your hand every 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's actually quite a good analogy. So yeah, we started streaming it. I hadn't played any of it before we started streaming, so it was totally brand new to us. Basically, it's a lot more of the same. If you have played Overcooked 1, I want to call it Overcooked 1, but it's the first Overcooked. It's very similar in the gameplay style. So you're chefs in a kitchen. You have ingredients that you have to prepare to make into meals to serve, and that's the very basic outline of the game itself. You have different levels that you come across, that you play in, and different obstacles. So there's moving platforms that you get trapped on sometimes, and which we came across, and we both got stuck on the same platform, and then the rest of the kitchen set on fire because we couldn't get over there. So yeah, that's to contend with. The storyline is different from the first one. With the first one, you had to appease a big, massive spaghetti and meatball monster, which invaded the Earth, in inverted commas. This one, you still come across the I don't really know what he's like. He is called the Onion King, so I don't know if he's king of like this land. I'm not entirely sure, but
it's kind of weird that all the people that you play human beings, right?
Yeah,
little humans, chefs, but all the other characters are all food that you're butchering and serving to presumably other people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's
actually,
kind of something to think about.
Yeah, because there are onions, like ingredients in the levels that are onions, so technically we're killing his kind. But anyway, that's another story.
The seedy underbelly of the Overcooked universe.
Yeah. So yeah, the Onion King that you converse with has unfortunately raised an army of undead bread, which is now known as the Unbread, which made me laugh so much when I first came across it.
I was literally just I didn't know that. I was literally just about to make a joke.
Yeah.
If the third one's going to be about a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh really?
No, the second one is.
They got there before you, Grant. So yeah, the story is that he has raised this army, and you have to satisfy them by exploring the world and finding new recipes. Apparently, I wasn't aware that was it. I thought it was just something that you had to defeat, but yeah, you have to find new recipes for them.
For the zombies?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
That's what the zombies want instead of brains?
Apparently. I don't know. Again, Overcooked is a bit weird like that.
Yeah.
There were some levels that we actually played, me and Bev, that were Harry Potter inspired. And
oh, really?
Yeah, they were like set in wizard castles, and there were portals and floating platforms and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the levels, you got a character that looked like Harry Potter, right down to like the scar as well. So
little on the nose, then.
Yes, yeah, a little bit too obvious, but
I think I saw the one when you guys were streaming where you guys were in a hot air balloon and it crashes halfway through the level.
Yeah, that was one I'd seen beforehand before playing it, because there is.
Maybe that's where I saw it. Then.
No, we did play it as well, Grant.
Oh, okay.
I subscribed to a channel on YouTube, and they'd done some gameplay of it before it was released. They got early access to it, and that was one of the levels that they'd done. And watching it and playing it are two totally different things. There was so much panic when me and Bev were playing it, because you start off in a hot air balloon and everything's fine. It's just a normal level, and you're high up in the clouds and you're happily plodding along, serving pretty simple dishes. I think it was a sushi level, so it was just chop the ingredient, put it on a plate and serve it. There was no cooking involved. Yeah. And as you progress through it, I noticed the surroundings starting to get very dark. So it was like the clouds are coming in, and then all of a sudden there was a flash of light, and obviously it's thunder and lightning, and the lightning actually sets your balloon on fire. So you get like little like pockets of fire dotted around the level, which you can't distinguish. So you have to navigate around them as well. And then eventually the lightning actually pops the balloon itself, and you go hurtling towards the ground, and conveniently land in the kitchen of a restaurant, and then just carry on cooking, because
like you would.
Yeah, that's what happens apparently in this world. So
they're just dedicated cooks, damn it.
Yes, we are dedicated to the cause. But that was a really
For those
fun.
who don't know, Cherry was a chef in a previous life.
Yes, yeah, and
that's why she loves Escape so much.
Probably right. Yeah.
How accurately did they capture the chef experience?
Oh, so much. It was.
I mean, other than the hot air balloons falling on the ground, it's like the juggling, the multitasking, right? I mean, that's kind of what they're getting after, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's taken to an extreme level, obviously.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of kitchens, you have like designated areas where you concentrate on just one certain thing. This is obviously like it's a game, so there has to be an element of fun.
Kind of walk through the gameplay for people who haven't seen it. I've at the very early levels I played, basically you've got two players, and depending on what people want. Like you're at a restaurant where they just want salad, so you got to chop up the lettuce, chop up the tomatoes, wash the plates, put the food on the plate, and serve it.
Yes.
And then, like, the levels will actually, like, move. So you and your friend will go, okay, I'll chop up the lettuce and wash the plates. You chop up the tomatoes and serve it to the customers.
Yeah.
And everyone's got a job and just kind of rotate, right, as the orders come in.
Yeah.
And then they'll start introducing things like, okay, this person wants something without tomatoes, so you got to make sure to catch that. And then the level will switch to where your lineup doesn't work anymore, and you have to, like, audibly on the fly change your tactics.
Yeah, there's a lot of... I think we've probably mentioned this before while playing OverCooked, the first OverCooked, but a lot of the gameplay mechanics, if you're playing with a friend, it's very heavy on communication. So for me and my sister to play is quite easy because we know each other, we know how we play games, so
yeah,
in that sense it's easy. But which brings me actually on to another thing, in Overcooked 2 they've actually introduced online multiplayer, whereas the first game didn't. I've yet to play the online multiplayer. I'm a little bit reluctant to do it as well.
Just because some random idiots will ruin your day.
Yeah, I imagine if you have friends that can't physically be in the same space as you, it will be absolutely fine. But yeah, if you get randomers in, then there's always that element of what are they going to do? So
I guess that goes to show why Dee and I don't play it very well together. We've only been married for 20 years and each other for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's long enough, Grant.
No, we're terrible communicators.
Yeah.
That's what we have in common. We're both terrible communicators. That's why we get along so great.
There's also a few other things that they've introduced in this one, which is it's to me, it's not a brand new game, but it's like an upgraded version of the first one. So there is a new mechanic that you can throw food to other people, or just in general if you want to just muck around and chuck food around the kitchen, I guess. So they brought it in where you can pick up an ingredient, and I think it's the X button. I can't remember which button it is now, but anyway, you press one of the buttons.
I have the same problem on the Switch.
I know,
Wait, where's the A? Where's the B?
One.
Yeah.
So you press the button, and then you get a little arrow directing to where you can throw it, and it's pretty simple. The cool thing about it is that you can actually throw ingredients into a pot if it's on the hob, or you can throw it onto a chopping board. So it doesn't necessarily have to A, go to another chef, or B, land on the floor. FYI, the kitchens that we worked in, we chucked ingredients all over the floor, so that there's no like 5-second rule. So they can stay on the floor as long as you want. Yeah.
So just like a real kitchen.
Oh yeah, that's totally what we did.
From what you've said and what I've seen online about this game, is it sounds like a really good sequel. They took everything that worked and made the first one great, refined it, added quality gameplay improvements, and didn't mess the formula up so much that it ruined it. I was talking to my sister after we played it, and I was like, well, what do you think? Do you like it? It's like, yeah, it's okay, but I could tell there was something bothering her about it. And then when she came, like, she sort of expanded on what she was meaning, and she was like, well, it's fine, but it's very, very similar to the first one. I don't see much difference in the first game itself. But eventually, like, when we played it a little bit more and a little bit more, it started to open up more. So you got it was like a continuation in the first few levels of the first game, but then there was more depth to it as you got into the game more and more. So it does take a little bit of getting into if you have played the first one. If you haven't played the first one, I would just recommend getting this one. So, like a good sequel, it started out with what you know, and then gradually introduced you to the new stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did she come around on it?
Yeah, she loves it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys finished the whole thing?
No, we haven't finished it. I think we're about maybe a third of the way through.
Oh wow! So you still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Think all the new stuff you haven't even learned. Maybe it gets real bad at the end.
Maybe
it stops being frustrating in the last half.
Well, you never know.
I thought about buying it just so you and I could do an online stream of it, and people could watch me turn 3 shades of red during the.
Yeah.
Although we communicate pretty well in shooters, so maybe we'd have a leg up. maybe we'd be able to
that
do
is
it.
true. Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe you just start yelling at me.
God, no!
I said throw it here, you idiot!
Actually, one of the things that they brought, another thing that they've introduced is a new emote menu as well.
Okay.
So, the first Overcooked didn't have any keybinds to Y, and I don't know if it's Y and X or just Y. So there was a button that wasn't being used for anything. So they've now decided that instead of just spamming one of the buttons that used to let you swear in the first game,
Swear?
well, it was just like a string of symbols and numbers.
Yeah.
They've now introduced an emote menu where you can... I'm assuming this is because of the online play, so you can communicate if you don't have voice.
So on Nintendo Switch, basically?
Well, pretty much, yeah. So the emote menu brings up stuff like well done or preparing or I think the swear one is actually still on there as well. So
well done as a good job or well done as a make the steak well done.
Well, you never know. You never know.
See, that's a really good emote wheel. It can handle all kinds of situations.
Oh no! If they brought in the ability to cook steaks a certain way, I think that would be way too much.
Oh, you just cook them one way.
Oh yeah.
So medium rare or rare.
Sometimes it's well done when it catches on fire.
Oh. So you'd recommend Overcooked?
Yes, I would.
Two?
Yeah, I would say, like I said previously, if you haven't played Overcooked 1, I would probably just punt for this one instead, because you do get pretty much the same gameplay from the first one, unless you want the storyline, which there is a storyline there, but it's very very light.
You're not playing it for the story, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like Monster Hunter. The story is pretty... Like, if you were just to sit down and watch the cutscenes, you'd go, what is this horse shit?
Yeah.
But because it's very, like, over-the-top, cheesy, and campy.
I think... I don't know if I mentioned it in the last time we discussed Overcooked as well, but if you have friends or family that aren't particular gamers, I think this is a really fun party game for them just to enjoy. I mean, there's no real consequences of them failing, and it's a really good laugh. I would definitely say.
Yeah, I mean, no consequences. You can drop food on the floor and nobody cares.
Precisely.
How much did it cost you?
We got the hard copy. We got the actual cartridge, and that was £25. But I think you can get the online or the store version, a digital copy. That's what I'm trying to say. For about £20. So whatever that is in dollars.
Do you know about the chemical they put on Switch carts?
I've heard about this.
Have you ever tested it?
No, I haven't.
It's a good prank you should do on your sister. Do you say, they put candy taste on Switch carts and see if she'll lick it?
Well, I might do that one day.
My friend Bishiv, he has a redemption on his stream. If you turn in so many of his money, his Bishiv coins or whatever he gives on the stream, he'll lick a Switch cart on stream and make this nasty face. Because why wouldn't you?
Well, that's a unique goal, I guess.
Now I'm going to pull my Switch out and see how much Overcooked is on the American store.
Oh, okay.
Because I think, did you hear the ding?
I did.
I think playing it on stream now would be hilarious. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
But speaking of playing together, we have been playing... Cherry talked me into trying Rainbow Six Siege. No, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
I want to get it right.
Gotta get the full title in there.
Exactly. It's on Steam. There's like one of the things that stopped me from trying this game out initially, because it's kind of up my alley. It's Overwatch mixed with Counter-Strike. You've got two groups. One's a terrorist, one's a counter-terrorist. They call them attackers and defenders in this one, or operators. But each person you can pick is a hero from Overwatch, has their own unique abilities and strengths and weaknesses. And because of that, it's a bit of a big pill to swallow up front. To get up to speed. By the time I was interested in playing it, the game had been out a while, and I'm like, I know I'm going to be so behind in skill. It's going to be like, throwing meat in a grinder. I'm going to be just dead over and over and over again. And I was. But the other side of it is their pricing structure is a little off-putting for me, or was, because you can't just pay one price and get everything. You got to buy like a pack, and then it comes with, the packs are all bundled with cosmetic stuff that I don't care about, or I don't care about when I'm looking to buy a game. And there wasn't a just let me pay $60 and get everything pack. There was a this one comes with like the base, and they're already starting out trying to sell you with terminology that I don't understand. They're like, here's the base one with the starter operators, and then here's the ones with the season 2 or the year 2 guys, and here's one with the year 3 guys. But if you buy it, you'll get all the year 3 guys if and when they come out. I'm like, well, just where's the button to say give me everything?
Yeah.
And on Steam, the button to give me everything includes all the cosmetic stuff, so it was like $130. I'm like, I'm not paying that. So that's what really turned me off at the game at first. But enough people like Cherry and our friend Metal Parky, Bunny Ball, who we play PUBG with quite a bit, and Chaos, I all respect their opinions about shooters, and they're like, this is the game. You just have to put the time in to get good. And I finally got into it, and I'm in the middle of like, I haven't turned PUBG on but twice in the last week because I've been playing this so much.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that I can't remember why I got this and why I actually turned back onto it, because I've had Siege for a while. I got the base game for, I think it was about £16 or something along that lines.
And that's ridiculous. You only have 2 operators on each side for £16.
Yeah. Well, technically, you can afford 4 operators, so it's up to you which. I mean, it makes sense to have 2 from each side, but you could have 4 attackers, or you could have 4 defenders. But then,
so I mean, I'm just, because we just brought it up. The way it works is there's 20 on each side. I want to say maybe 24 on each side.
There's a lot.
And yeah, and if you don't have an operator unlocked, you can pay to unlock each one of them. You can buy them in little bundles that come with cosmetics, which again I don't agree with, or you can buy them independently with real money, or the game at the end of each round gives you a little bit of what they call renown in-game currency that lets you unlock each character slowly, but they give you like 120 renown, and it costs 12,000 to unlock one guy. So it's like,
and 12,500 is only for the year 1. If you want to get year 2 or 3, it's 25.
Yeah, it's off-putting. I understand, like, if you're if once you're into the game and you're playing 20 rounds a night and you're getting 2,400 renown a day, that's only a couple of days of playing it. But if you don't have an operator, or like last night, Cherry and I were playing, and unknowingly, I picked one of the 2 operators she had. Somebody else on her team picked the other one, so she had to play the recruit, who has no special abilities. It's kind of like a generic character.
And you don't get anything for that either, for playing recruit. You don't get any XP or anything.
You don't get XP for playing recruit?
As far as I'm aware now.
Okay. As much as I like this game right now, I don't like a lot about its pricing structure, which is what initially turned me off of it. But and I'm going to get off my soapbox. Continue, Cherry. Sorry. OverCooked 2 is $25 in the US.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that on the digital copy?
Yeah, the digital
copy. That's a bit about right. Then. I can't remember why or who asked me to get Siege or when I actually got it, but I know I've had it for a while. And I was looking at something different, because we'd been like properly maxing out on PUBG recently, and even with the introduction of the custom matches, I found myself getting a little bit tired of playing it. Maybe it's because we just binged on it so much, but the custom matches kind of piqued my interest again. But it's quite difficult sometimes to get a group of friends together in one place at a certain time to play PUBG customs, and you used to have to need 10. They've now reduced it to 8 people, but even then sometimes it's difficult to get that amount of people. So, and
you're also, the other side of that coin is 8 people is on a giant map.
Yeah.
So if you only have 8, which is usually like once you start, more people show up.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to come in and go, oh, we've only got 4. This could be 20 minutes of waiting. So
yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you. I'm still a little bit burned out on it, but I was playing it basically for the obligation of grouping everybody together, because we had a good group of people, 10, 20 people who were showing up every week, and I didn't want to let them down.
But again, the problem with that is that because we have so many people that play it and we have a lot of friends that are streamers as well. They sometimes just want to do single matches or duo matches or squad matches. They don't always want to come and play custom matches. So it's a bit of a difficulty, like I said, getting people together to play it. So to go from that to Siege is quite a bit of a step. Much like you, Crunk, when I first started playing Siege, I was so bad at it. I
never said I was bad at it. What are you trying to say?
I've seen you play.
Oh, ouch. Jerk.
Sorry. I would go into online matches and just like run around with the headless chicken and just barge into places, not knowing any of the routes or any of the strategies or no communication or anything like that. So the main thing that I wanted to work on was to learn the game and how it differs from PUBG. Because while there's tactics in both of them, they're very different tactics that you have to apply. So we managed. I think I introduced Mel Parky to it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why or how, but he has taken it full force and gone headfirst into it, and is a huge fan of it. So me, Crunky, Parky, our friend Gary was the end reason, and probably we played a couple with Bunny Ball as well. So there's like 2 teams of 5 people. So if you get a group of 5, you're well away. I mean, it's not demanding to get 4 friends, I guess.
We've been playing against the casual mode, not the competitive. So it's like it seems to me in this game is sort of like Counter-Strike. The teams that coordinate or at least communicate together always have a leg up.
Yeah, because they have the mechanic where if you die and the rest of your team is still alive, you have depending on which side you are, you have the ability to take control of the cameras that are dotted around the maps. So even after your death, you can still help your teammates by spotting the other team. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never played the game before, let me just do a rundown of what a typical game is like. There's a couple of different game modes, but they're all similar. You either have, if you played Counter-Strike, there's a hostage, or there's a bomb, or they have something in this game called the Biohazard Containment Unit, but it's basically a bomb. If they get there, they can take it over without actually have to plant a diffuser or anything like that. But you've got the defenders and then the attackers, and the defenders usually spawn in one of like 5-6 preset locations inside a 3-story building of some sort. Sometimes it's a boat, sometimes it's a house, sometimes it's a plane, like a commercial jumbo jet's one of the levels. But the defenders get 5 minutes to set up their defenses. Every character gets a wall reinforcer, because different characters can like bust through walls, and you can shoot through drywalled walls a little bit and break them down. And then that's where the class abilities come in. I'm just going to talk very generic, not name any names, because 1, it'd be too in-depth, and 2, I don't know all of them yet. You've got defenders who can put up cameras on the wall. You've got defenders who can put up turrets or electronic jammers to stop cameras and drones from coming around. You've got people who have special abilities like grenade launchers or flashbang launchers. There's one guy on the attacker side who can like put a gun inside a hole in a wall and shoot grenades into a room and blow up the whole room. The attackers one guy has a sledgehammer, can knock down walls really easily instead of taking 3 or 4 hits to knock them down. You've got attackers who can have a drone flying overhead that can like spot anyone who moves for 3 seconds, but it alerts them so they can choose to hold still. I can't say the game is super well balanced or not, because there's so many combinations. It's sort of like Overwatch. There's so many combinations on both sides that you can set up a match where you're really outgunned on defense, because the characters they chose to roll with are like counters to yours. So, and you don't, unless you when you're picking your character, you have no idea what they're picking. So when they have a match is, I think, best out of 3, and it can go into overtime if it's tied. So, or is it best out of 4? I don't know.
Best out of 5.
Best
it's
out
first
of 5.
of 3.
Okay, so yeah, best out of 5. So you in the second match, you can re-pick your characters differently, and you're switching between offense and defense every round. So you can kind of, if you remember round 1, when you're back on defense again in round 3, you can remember, okay, they like to run these guys, but they also know what we pick. So we pick all differently. It becomes that, all in your head game. But that variation of gameplay is good because it's like Counter-Strike is great fun until the shooting mechanics get stale, and then it's just like that's it. This game has shooting mechanics and class ability mechanics, and if you played like Dust 2 on Counter-Strike, the bomb can only spawn in like 2 or 3 places if I remember correctly. It's been years since I played it. This one, they seem to have a lot more variation, and you can bust through walls. There are sections of the floor you can bust through. Like if you know where the bomb is, when you start a round out on attack, you get these little mechanical drones that you can drive in there and kind of spot things out. You can park them in strategic places and use them as cameras during the match, but you have to stop and look at your cell phone instead of shoot. And you can, let's say the bomb is on level 2. Well, you can go up to the 3rd floor, and there's a box or a square on the ground where you can blow it up a hatch, and you can start attacking them from the above while you're coordinating an attack with somebody else who's on floor 2, hitting them from the side. So a lot of really good strategy can come from that. And I spent a little bit of time last night watching like competitive level play. Now that I have a baseline to even understand what the hell's going on, and I was like, oh my god, I'm way off thinking I can even play this game.
Yeah, I've seen some of the pros play it, and it's insane. Like a pixel width of your little finger, and they can kill you.
Exactly. And if you've played online games, PUBG's the same way. If there's any kind of latency at all, that's all they need to kill you in this game. Like, you're dead before you even know where they come from.
The other thing, building on that as well, Crank, is what I think we discovered last night, I think I may have mentioned it, is that I've come across a few Smurf accounts in this game. For those that aren't aware, Smurf account is when someone creates a new account, but they've been playing the game for absolutely forever, and they're above the level that it actually says in the game. So we were playing against one last night, and the opposing team actually won, but their top player was a level 7, and they managed to get like 10 kills. No way that doesn't equate to a level 7 at all.
Yeah, I've barely played for a week, and I'm level 30 plus already. So, and you have to be 20 to even get in rank. So this guy was clearly, I think we should have known he was a Smurf when he ran around going la 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 la.
This is true. Yeah.
Oh man, I think I have not run into as many Smurf accounts as maybe you guys have, because I've not been playing long enough. But I got to be careful too, because there's obvious Smurfs, and there's also people who like just have a fluky round. You and I were playing with Parky the other day, and he had 17 kills in one round. And that's like triple what he normally has, or maybe double what he normally has. And he was like, I don't know, I'm on fire. So I didn't experience it firsthand, so it's easy for me to be skeptical. But I'm also so new to the game, I probably can't tell a Smurf from just your average player.
Yeah, but then again, Parky is like level 60 plus.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't suspect it.
He put in like 60 hours this week, something crazy.
Yeah,
he put 10, 12-hour days, and he had one that was up to 15.
Crazy fool.
Yeah. Well, not that I've ever gamed that much in 1 week.
Oh, no.
I've done it enough to know that it'll burn me out on the game, so I've been kind of like, the other day I popped in on PUBG I realized I hadn't played it since the patch. I was like, I gotta at least go check out the patch. Well, I meant to tell you, if you go in there and you're seeing any kind of stuttering, take your frame rate from unlimited to display based.
Right, okay.
That fixed it for me. That is, if you ever play PUBG again.
I'm sure. No, I actually do want to play it, because they have now introduced scooters, and I am dying to have a scooter race in one of the custom matches. And also try out the new practice area that they've introduced as well.
Yeah, I think it's only on the test server, or it's coming like late September, late August, early September, I think they said. Or maybe late September. It already is late August.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right now I'm really appreciating Rainbow Six. I went ahead and bought this is what I did. I'm not sure it's the cheapest, but it's the cheapest one I was able to realize. I bought the Year 3 pass, which gave me a bunch of like in-game currency. I didn't mention this earlier for it being overly complex, but the renown is what they give you in-game for winning a match. You can also get in-game currency. They're called like Rainbow Six coins or whatever. They're silver. And when I bought the Year 3 pack, they gave me a bunch of those. I had some from buying the starter pack or the deluxe pack or whenever I bought the original game. And then with that currency, they also give you a 10% discount on the shop in the game. Oh. So I was able to unlock every character for, what did the Year 3 pass cost? $30. So I think I paid $25 for the original when I bought it like a year ago or 6 months ago. $30, and then I think I spent $10 more. So about $60, $65. I was able to unlock everything other than cosmetics, and that's what I wanted to do at the beginning. It was just not obvious. There was no obvious way for me to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I can see why you've done that, but it would. I think for me, as a gamer, just my style of gaming, it wouldn't be beneficial because I would end up having choice paralysis and. With the amount of operators that are available, I wouldn't know which one to choose, and I think I would just end up using like a couple of operators all the time instead of branching out into the other ones. But if like Crunky, you want a piece of one of the all of the operators available, and you like choice and you like trying different things and different abilities and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'd say do that.
I think part of that is because I've played games that have this setup where there's lots of characters, like Overwatch, that I understand that there's a character, I don't remember what her name is, that one that uses the cell phone that drives you nuts.
Oh God, Dokebi. Yeah.
Dokebi.
Dokebi.
I've never had a problem with her because I think I just played the operators that aren't weak to her.
Yeah.
And I think that's might be why she drives you so crazy. And I learned that lesson in Overwatch. Overwatch, there's a character named Farah who can fly around. And if you don't have one or two of the characters that are her hard counters, she can be real trouble. And I remember the day I learned, if I just choose Soldier 76 while she's flying around, I could shut her ass down. She can't even fly. I don't know that that's necessarily what's going on with that character, or you just have...
No, it just... when the KB is on offense, I think. Yeah, she plays attack. So when I play defense, I usually play as Mute, and Mute has the ability to put down jammers, which will stop any kind of electrical device. So it will stop drones, enemy drones coming in. And if you put Mute's device on you, if you put it underneath you and you sit on it, Dokebi's ability becomes useless. She can't. Okay. She doesn't have the advantage of doing the phone distraction because the jammer will just cancel it out. But it's not that bothers me. I just die to her so much, regardless of the ability or not. She just seems to headshot me not every game, but a lot of the time.
To where now, if you see it's her, you go crazy.
Oh my God, yeah. And the other thing actually that you were talking about earlier is that you don't see who the other team are playing as, so you don't know if you're coming up against the Dokebi or not. So sometimes I'll play as Rook. Rook doesn't have Mute's ability, so I more often than not I will die to her. Yeah.
I've recently been playing on attack. I've been playing the people who have automatic shotguns.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of interesting, but because you can if there's a roof access someplace, or you can go through the floor through the ceiling down on people.
Yeah.
His shotgun blast will blast one hole in it, and then you can hop down there, and before they even could turn around, you can kill two people. And that's awesome, but it's also high risk, high reward, because if you drop down there and there's two people in front of you, there might be a person behind you don't see. And the time to kill in this game is small. Boom, boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
And it's got that Counter-Strike thing where when you're dead, you can look at cameras, but if all the cameras are out, you just wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can spectate your teammates, but there's no real advantage to it because you can't move around your camera, so you see what they're seeing.
Hey, you missed something back there.
Oh, I was going to say, one of the funniest things that I've come across in Siege so far is Enrisen playing as Montaigne, which is aka known as the Mountain. And
because he's just a giant
yes,
armor-covered shield user.
Exactly. His ability is a full-body shield. So he is basically, it's just a battering ram. You can go into buildings and just hide behind him because there is no way the opposing team can kill him. The shield covers him from head to toe. The disadvantage is that he cannot shoot while he has the full body shield out. So more often than not, it's just if everyone else is dead on our team, it's just Gary left with the full body shield and just slowly pacing towards someone on the opposing team, edging them away, or him backing into a corner where all of his other sides are covered with the shield in front of him, and just them just emptying their clips into him. They can't kill him. So it's just, there was one situation where we were on the plane and everyone had died and Gary was still up and he had his shield up and he was entering into the front of the plane, and there was three of them, the three defenders that were inside the plane, and they saw him. Gary saw them. Gary ended up backing out of the plane, down the stairs, out into the lot of the airport. Meanwhile, these three defenders were just coming for him, straight at him, but they couldn't do anything. So they ended up in his face, just right up into the camera's face, and I don't actually know how he ended up dying, but it was funny just to see these three people just coming at him and not being able to do anything about it.
What I've done when I run into a Montaigne is, especially if he's by himself, you just run right past him, turn around, and knife in the back.
Didn't you do that last night?
Yeah, I think so. I've done it a couple times, but yeah. Well, that's Rainbow Six Siege, I'd say. I'd recommend it. It's kind of nice in that way that you can get the cost of entry, especially I think they had a free weekend last weekend.
Yes.
They had they'll from time to time have a free weekend to check it out. If you've played Overwatch and Counter-Strike, you already know what you're getting into with this game. If someone I knew would have been able to explain it to me that way, I might have been able to get into it a little easier. But that cost structure is weird. I don't understand why they did it that way, or why they wouldn't have come up with something that just was obvious to gamers, unless they were counting on you buying, I'll just get the real cheap base edition and then get hooked into buying all the other characters piecemeal for $5-6 a piece, because that'll add up.
Well, I would say if you're unsure about it, I would go for the base game, because it's half the price, or probably less than the actual full game. So if you don't want to spend that much money on a game that you're not entirely convinced on, go for the base, and then you at least get a taste and you get a chance to play 4 of the operators.
Well, let me ask you this: if, other than solving world peace and stopping Hitler from rising to power, if I gave you a time machine and you could go back in time, would you buy the base game again, or would you buy the next one up to get more operators?
No, I'd buy the base game
again.
Yeah.
You don't want any more other characters?
That's just personally me. I was saying earlier that if I have too much choice, I can't decide.
Well, when you try Overwatch again, I'll tell you which characters you should pick over and over again.
Get back to me on that one.
Select your player.
Well, Cherry, where can people get a hold of you online?
You guys can find me. I'm on Twitter. If you want to contact me at cherrycake518. It's probably the best way to get a hold of me if you have any inquiries. I do some video editing. If you need a video editor for any highlight reels from Twitch or for YouTube or anything like that, feel free to contact me on there. And you can also find me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/cherrycaketv. And what about...
hang on just a second. Before I'll put links in the show notes here. Who are the people that you're making videos for other than I know you're making my videos. Who else are you making for?
I currently am video editor for GradKeys, and I'm doing some videos for General Chaos Live.
All right, I'll put links to those if you guys are interested in getting YouTube videos made for your channels or anything. You can go look through the links that I put in the show notes of the work she's done. I'm pretty impressed with it. I don't know about you, but are you pretty impressed with yourself? Are you going to brag a little bit?
It's okay. I mean, it's it's pretty good.
I think the best thing about me is my humility.
What about you, Crunk? Where can people find you?
I'm at Crunky_Twitch on Twitter, and I'm at twitch.tv/Crunky with 2 N's on Twitch. That is a tongue twister if I've ever heard one, because I put Twitch in my Twitter name. You got your peanut butter in my chocolate.
Oh no, I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Be sure to look for another episode next week. Bye.
Bye.